We've got a special release, guys, that we're releasing today, because you may have noticed in the feeds and social media that Big Finish has made a special announcement. There's some special stuff coming out to do with the 11th Doctor, which is very exciting, and Jake Dudman. And we've got an exclusive with you because we have the producer, the script writer, the showrunner, and one of the writers as well, Alfie Shaw. Alfie, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, guys. It's an absolute pleasure to be here.
Listen, we're very excited by this. The 11th Doctor Chronicles work has been amazing. It's kept developing over the years. But the sad news is, apparently, that Jake Dudman's decided this will be his last bit of work as 11th Doctor. Is that right?
Yes, I think after Jake's been doing it for a number of years now, and I think he just feels it's time to move on from the role. But before he goes, we have 4 individual box sets that make up a series of Doctor Who that we wanted to do a sort of, as it was Jake's last roll of the dice as 11, he had, when he went away, a proper series of Who, like you would get on the telly, to himself. So it's a new companion, new themes, new threats, couple of old monsters, hopefully, but just its own self-contained journey for Jake.
Yeah, that's pretty exciting. And certainly, I mean, Jake has contributed so much for the 6 years he's been with the Big Finish, and he's been so enthusiastic. So it's a great way to honour him, to give him his own final series. When is this series going to be set?
So the series is set between Series 7A and 7B. Whatever that mystery gap would be called. But specifically, it's set between the Snowmen and the Bells of St. John. And it's set during the search for Clara, and we picked that because there's a lot of gaps in the 11th Doctor's timeline, but there's stuff like when he's moving away from the ponds, and if you introduce a new companion there's the sort of inherent dramatic tension of, well, you want the ponds to then meet the new companion, and that would be the kind of finale, and obviously for various reasons we couldn't quite make that happen. But the search for Clara, we know at the end of the Snowmen, off he goes looking for Clara, and at the beginning of the Bells of St. John, he's in that monastery and has sort of failed to find her. So there's no story pressure within that gap to sort of build towards anything. So it's its own thing, and it's just this wonderful gap to explore and tell stories. And we have that great costume from the Snowmen, which he runs off in the TARDIS at the end. So he will be wearing that throughout all of the covers on the run. He's wearing that. So it's its own look visually, as well as, which is a weird thing to have to think about for an audio series, but it has its own kind of visual identity as well as its own place in that timeline.
Yeah, the visual identity is actually a really big thing in Big Finish. I mean, the number of jokes made about Colin Baker's outfit and what he's wearing, and even David Tennant has those jokes. So although we listen to audio, it's still a visual medium in terms of how words describe pictures. And so I think the one of the things that Big Finish does, it describes great pictures. I guess we've just had Beyond the War Games. This is sort of Beyond the Snowmen.
Yes, yes, very much so. It's very much in that vein. I wanted to do a kind of, since all of these other Doctors are having this great moment of these new Rangers launching with these brilliant actors, I wanted to do the same thing for Jake. And I wanted to do a run of stories as soon as I came on the range. I grew up with Big Finish. I love Big Finish. And one of the things I loved was Charlie, Evelyn, Lucy, all of those great runs from back in the day and now with Liv and Helen and all that sort of ongoing storytelling. I really wanted to do that with the Chronicles range, especially with the 11th Doctor. And ever since we transitioned to the full cast setting, that's really enabled us to do that.
So it's going to be very much a full cast audio. It's not going to be back to the original sort of Chronicles, the ways of doing things. It's going to be full cast.
It's all full cast. I sort of approached it like it's the Jake Dudman adventures, which I appreciate is very different from the 11th Doctor adventures, which is, of course, reserved for when Matt decides to join us. I should stress, Jake's decision to leave is nothing to do with Matt. There is not, to the best of my knowledge, a Matt Smith series with Big Finish, going to lead off the back of that. It would be lovely if, as time progresses, that just happens. But this is entirely to do with Jake. It's nothing to do with Matt. He's
a very, very busy actor at the moment, Matt Smith. Recording a lot of stuff.
Yeah. But
But Jake is a very busy actor too, so good on him.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, also Jake is going off to do fabulous work in streaming, which he already does, and he's getting more of that sort of thing. But yes, every time Matt speaks about Doctor Who, it's very positive. So I personally think it's a matter of when, not if. But at the current time, to the best of my knowledge, that when is
still a win.
Not imminent. Yeah.
Great. So there's a new companion for the 11th Doctor. Do you want to tell us a bit about...
Safiyya Ingar, yes. So the companion is called Valerie Lockwood. And when I was coming up with a new companion, I didn't want to do modern day Earth, because I think that's a great thing for the TV series to do, because you've got that wider audience and you're trying to bring in that kind of general audience to Doctor Who. But when you get to Big Finish, I always assume, and maybe that's wrong, but there is at least a level of familiarity with Doctor Who, and you can do slightly more experimental or just different companions. And so we sort of talked things around, and maybe there was some talk of doing a companion from the French Revolution, but we thought, well, that's possibly stepping a bit too close towards Charlie and historical companions and that sort of thing. And I then fell in love with the cyberpunk genre. I was reading the William Gibson trilogies of novels. I thought, oh, wouldn't it be cool if we had a companion from the future? Because we could then also sidestep a lot of the sort of traditional beats of having to go through with a new companion. So if they're from the future, they sort of know about aliens. And then you can do things like going back in time, and you flip it. So instead of people being amazed that they're going going forward in time, going, oh my God, this is so different. You have someone going back and going, oh my God, this is so different from where we are now in the 54th century, when our planet is owned by a single corporation. And also, I mean, I just like the idea of having sort of the Doctor travels with essentially the bionic woman. So Valerie has enhanced, she has cybernetic limbs, she's got interfaces and stuff like that. So they're kind of physically very strong, which is quite useful. And then you can kind of offset that with different emotional beats. But yes, it's just trying to find something new. And Doctor Who is this vast and wonderful playground, but because of that, lots of things have been done already. So it's just trying to find something new and special. And I really think we've achieved that. And then when it came to casting Valerie, Safiyya did a Torchwood with Jake called The Black Knight, which some people would have heard. And I just got a text from Jake going, I have found Valerie. And then Nick and I listened and went, yes, you have. And it was as simple as that. So from there, Saf was locked in, and the chemistry between the two of them is just amazing. We knew we were on to a winner on the first day. And by the end of day 6, I mean, I was nearly crying. I'm biased. I'm very biased. I love this team. This is literally my era of Doctor Who, for good or for real. It's got my name on it. But I love the pair of them, and I think they've got something really special together. Yeah,
the footage I've seen of them, and we'll show the clip that's going out there at the moment. It has so much. They have so much energy together, and they just seem to really bounce off each other. So yeah, I'm very excited to see how this all comes out.
We've created a new series of Doctor Who for the 11th Doctor. It's 12 stories, just as you'd have in the show, spread across 4 box sets. And the first box set of those is Geronimo.
When I took over the range, we were mid-production on a previous box set. I was talking with Jake, and Jake said, I've done this a lot, I'd like to move on. And so we really decided to absolutely hell for leather make it its own series of Who. It's sort of 7A.2. It's a wonderful gap for stories, but just the worst thing to name.
The Doctor's in an interesting time in his life, having just lost the Ponds, and he's on the quest for this mysterious Clara Oswald when he bumps into Valerie Lockwood, played by the brilliant Safiyya Ingar.
I'm Safiyya Ingar, and I play Valerie Lockwood. Valerie Lockwood is a cybernetically enhanced cyberneticist from the 54th century Earth.
So when we meet Valerie, she's having dinner with her mum Patricia and a few family friends, and then the Doctor literally steps into her life in possibly the worst way imaginable.
Hi?
Hello! Have you just used a plasma cutter?
How did you know I was using
Excellent. I'm going to assume from your general look of surprise that's a yes. Can I borrow it?
Sorry, what? Who are you?
I'm the Doctor, and this is a bomb.
Being a Whovian, growing up as a Whovian, I'm just like, okay, this is just great. They're sassy, they quip at each other, she very much like tries to hurry him along, and I think like he has patience with that as well.
It's the future of the Earth. It's all owned by a single corporation. It's full-on cyberpunk dystopia, and from there, temporal shenanigans abound.
We have time spiders, we have evil AI, maybe down the line some old enemies, and these are the most exciting Big Finish releases that I've done. It's great to be back, as always, and it's bittersweet because after 6 years of doing these, I've decided to step down from the range.
People often ask you, as a Doctor Who fan, who is your Doctor? And my answer will always be Jake, because this is... Oh, hello. Oh, bless you. No, but it's true.
I've loved my time on the Chronicles series. I'm always going to be grateful to Big Finish, and I will always remember when the Doctor was me.
What's it been like for you having this baby that you've nursed from basically from beginning to end in terms of, creating so much and, so much guidance? You've written the first story in the first box set, so you're setting the whole tone as well. How's that been for you?
I'm not going to lie, quite stressful. A Big Finish script is 10,000 words. I wrote about 60,000 for the first story. I went through so many different iterations of this to get it right. At one point, Valerie had a sister, and then that was cut out. At one point, it opened with a job interview, and I found that recently, and I really like that scene, so I might use it somewhere else. But that got cut out, and it was just a matter of, because the first episode has a kind of high concept element to it as well. In fact, they sort of all do, because I felt that was sort of the era. There's a lot of high concept stuff kicking around, but it's just a matter of crunching it down, because that first episode has just really got to be about the Doctor meeting the companion. So if you look at any series opener, the threat is sort of inconsequent. There's the Autons, but it's chuck some antiplastic in. There's the Atraxi, but it's just set the clocks to 0. It's, the June is slightly more complicated. But the main focus is you have to make person A meet person B, and the audience fall in love with both of them. So it was a lot of work, and it went past a lot of people. I've shown this to Scott Hancock, Tim Foley, Matt, who was the wonderful script editor and does miracles every day. I went through so many people just being like, look, this is so important. Is this okay? And they all seemed to like it and gave great notes, and I've worked all of it in. So hopefully people like it. I got some really nice emails from Nick saying how much he loved it after we'd done the recording, and the cast were all very positive. But yes, even now I'm sort of sitting here going, oh, please like it, come on, oh God. But we've got some great people involved going forward. There's a mix of newer writers who we're bringing in, who I always think that's very important to do with Big Finish, but also some Big Finish mainstays and absolute dramatic geniuses, more of which details will kind of evolve down the line. But yes, there was a real pressure to, I think, really get that first one and make sure that the leads were happy with the story that we're going to tell and the arc that we've got. And luckily, both of them loving it so far. And I've told them where it's going, and they love that as well. So that's great. So hopefully people will love it as much as I do. But yes, as I say in that video, Jake is my Doctor, by which I mean I grew up in the 90s. So I didn't grow up with a Doctor. I just grew up with Doctor Who happening. Just it happened and was still happening around me. But Jake, we've made this thing together. He is and will always be my Doctor, because we made this together. And I just hope people like it, really. You always do, but
yeah, of course we will. So first box is called Geronimo. When to come out?
The first box set is called Geronimo, and it comes out in October of 2022. So it's a very quick turnaround.
It is quick. I'm sure we can order it now.
Yes, you can absolutely order now. I think you can also order the next volume, which is called All of Time and Space, which comes out in February 23, I believe. And I think the other 2 volumes will be up for pre-order as well now. So you can order the entire
series.
run,
Yeah.
the whole series. Jake said in the video, and we've said in other places, it's 12 episodes. It was initially meant to be 12 episodes, but I said to Jason, could we have 13? Because then it's a Matt Smith run of stories. It's a full season. And he said yes. So the last box set has 4 stories. The extra of which is written by an absolute Big Finish mainstay, very popular writer. So I think people are really going to enjoy that. And we have a, just to give a tease that I probably shouldn't give, so I might get fired for this, but what the hell. One of the episodes is Christmassy. So there is not only has Jake got a full run, but there's also
special.
He's got a Christmassy episode as well. Yes.
Okay. Because you can't tell. I know. I'm kind of hoping Valerie might get to meet the Cybermen, because I think that could be an interesting story. But I don't know, and don't tell. That's okay.
Wouldn't that be nice? I really think that's a really good idea.
Just as we've got John Colshaw with Big Finish, who, when you listen to his Brigadier, you cannot sort of distinguish him from Nick Courtney. It's a bit incredible, to be honest. I feel exactly the same with Jake's 11th Doctor. I can't really tell the difference, and it's so easy to just absorb yourself into the world that's created by you guys. So thank you so much for this. This is really, really exciting stuff, and I can't wait to get into it.
And just, thank you, that's very kind to say, but just on the point of how brilliant Jake is, at this range, we give him everything. He gets anger, he gets sad, and he could just nail it as Matt. There's a bit where he's got to be like a kind of stone cold, however old the Doctor says he is at this point, bit of fury, and do not mess with me, I am the Doctor. And Jake nails it all. I'm so pleased with it.
Jake even has a way of making you imagine the Matt Smith hand movements.
He does them in the studio. He's
you
recording.
can hear them. Oh, well, there you go. Obviously, he puts that comes across because I can hear them happening.
Yeah, and what's great is we've been working with Lee Adams is doing the sound design, and there's now there's one bit where the Doctor sort of slaps himself on the back like that, like Matt would. So you're getting in the sound design of him doing that and working that element of the physicality in it. We've got the sonic flicks open and shut as
who's on the music?
Fantastic.
Music is Jamie Robertson.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, wow.
So
it's going to be
big,
sensational.
yeah.
Well, listen, thank you for this exclusive. Yeah, it's going to be fantastic. Thanks for sharing with us.
Pleasure. I hope everyone enjoys it.